Sentire Media.
Ciao a tutti and welcome to Venice Talks, a podcast series dedicated to Venice in Italy. I'm your host, Monica Cesarato, a Venetian food and travel blogger. Join me as I share my insider knowledge to help you explore Venice at 360 degrees. In this weekly podcast, we'll dive into the heart of a city, uncovering hidden stories and connecting with the people who make Venice unique. The artisans, the writers, the fashion designers, the bloggers, the journalists, and more. Let's break free from cliché and discover the true essence of Venice, not just the monuments, but the vibrant people, the Venetians. Experience Venice the right sustainable way. You can find me on my blog at www.monicacesarato.com and across all social media platforms. Enjoy the episode and let's journey through Venice together. Welcome back to Venice Talks, Season 2, Episode 26. Hi everybody and welcome back to another episode of Venice Talks. Today I have a special episode because it's a bit of a self-promotion, but let's start from the beginning. First of all, I have two very good friends of mine. The first one, I go in alphabetical orders, girls, so it's Romena Brugnerotto and Susan Schwartz. Correct, Susan? I said it right, yes, did I?
But you said it perfectly.
Ciao Romena and ciao Susan.
Ciao Monica, ciao Susan.
Ciao, ciao.
How are you girls?
Molto bene, very well.
Because you just come back from vacation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so today we are here because we are officially launching roll of what do you call it? Roll of drums.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. We are launching a new type of tours in Venice.
Ta-da.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
And to talk about it, of course, I got Romena and Susan because we are the three of us got involved to do this. First of all, I'll start with Susan, so I'll get her to explain what it's all about, and then with Romena, we'll get into how everything was born. So, Susan, what kind of tours are we launching in Venice?
Well, we're launching two different kinds of Venice Cocktail Tours.
Cocktails, yeah.
Yes, cocktails.
So
Do you want me to describe them?
Of course.
Okay, all right. So one is, I'll start with the Venetian Classics tour. And that is where the guest is led through a brief history of the cocktails that were born in Venice and also a little bit of wine that was born in Venice over the tour. So I don't want to ruin it for people, but
okay. But we want them to come, so we need to give a little bit of, let's say, tips, just a little tips.
Okay.
On what's going on.
I'm not sure if people know that three important cocktails were invented in Venice. One is the Bellini, one is the Spritz, and the other is the Scropino. And also, so wine is also on our tour, and how wine is important to the city as well, and where it was grown and all of that. So in the tour, during the tour, you get to find out and try a little bit or a cocktail of all the different ones, and also a little bit about the coffee and the coffee places. And why coffee was so important in Venice.
Exactly, because there was a really big coffee culture in Venice during the 1700s. So this is part of the history of Venice. Cocktails, I think, is something a bit newer, but still, we do have a history of cocktails as well. So yes. And the other one instead, that is my favorite, by the way.
Probably because that was the one that you first thought of.
No,
and
mainly because mainly
Oh.
because I've never been a classic. I'm always been a bit weird. I'm always the one that wants to have something that nobody else has. So that's fine. That's the only reason why. Okay.
Well, recently, the cocktail culture in Venice has just become, what should I say, super international and at such a high level. And so the other tour is exploring the new cocktail culture, not the 18th century, not the 19th century, but the 21st century cocktail culture, meeting the bartenders who are really making a difference in different places, so you get to experience these new cocktails that are being created in all different places, from hotel bars to standalone bars to hotel. Oh, I said hotel bars, yes, to all different ways.
Yeah.
So that is really, really exciting. So we've worked with the specific bartenders to choose one of their great cocktails that you'll try along the tour. So that is super exciting.
And all the bars and hotels and stuff are hush. We're not going to tell you where they are because it's a surprise when you come along with us, but they are amongst the best places in Venice. So,
Assolutamente.
I'm going to Romena. Romena. I mean, I know I could tell the story how everything started, but let's do the part where me and you were involved, and then I go back to Susan when me and her got involved. And
Yeah,
so
that's true.
How did we come out with Venice Cocktail? Well, the name came out actually by Susan, but the whole idea, how did it come?
Guys, me and Monica and I will join a lot of cocktail weeks in the past few years. Now that there was these events launched in Venice just after the COVID.
Romena, not that we needed that because we were already doing lots of cocktails anyway, but yes.
But on this in these moments, actually we know more people, we know how much we can do. And last fall, during at the end of the cocktail week, we were sitting down on a sushi restaurant.
That's where we were. Okay, I couldn't remember. I remember
the conversation. We were sitting down on a
okay.
sushi restaurant, and we will say, okay, let's do something different because we already do tours in Venice. No, because we do food tours. I do other kind of tours on the islands, but we have always new ideas, something new we want to do, because otherwise our life will be so boring.
Exactly.
And so talking with Monica, we said, okay, let's put some ideas, like contact some people we know and see if they are interested in what we can do together. And then you met Susan.
Yes, I met Susan. I'll do a little bridge here since we're in Venice as well. I met Susan wrote to me asking to see each other after a while because I haven't seen each other for a while at a cocktail bar, funny enough, because I said to her, oh, I'm free on that day. I got to meet somebody. I got to go and speak in this cocktail bar for this reason, but she didn't know. And while she was listening to me talking to the bartender, she started laughing like crazy. Because I remember she started laughing like crazy and said to me, oh my God. And then what did you say?
Well, I said, this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you.
I know. And it felt
it was
so
crazy.
Weird.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. Also because exactly what I was asking is exactly what you wanted to do. But, we literally thought about these things totally, never even mentioning to each other. Because, with Romena, we see each other and, we kind of developed normally in a way. It was natural to go into something like this. But with you, we never spoke about working together.
Never. I'm just going to add a little bit to that, is that the minute I met you, I was like, oh, she does such amazing things. Your cicchetti tour is incredible. Romena, I hadn't met you yet, so that's why. And when we met, I was like, oh, in the back of my mind, I thought, this is someone I want to really work with. And then I was supposed to come to Venice in November, and I got COVID. Yeah. And that's when I wanted to talk to you. And then a couple months later, after the Christmas, I think it was, then I met you. And then I heard you talking. I was like, wait a sec, that's what I wanted to talk to you about in November. This is crazy.
I know. It was a great mind things alike. Back 2 seconds to Romena. Romena, why do you think there was a need for a tour like this?
But first of all, because in the city there are a lot of tours that are sort of replica, copy one to each of the other.
Yes, so of mine, to be precise.
Exactly, starting from the beginning, from the ones from Monica, and then they are like copies. They don't want to do something different because it's so easy. Sometimes you just copy, reproduce, and then you sell. And since we have so many guests here in town, it's really easy to not so easy, but it's I would say it is possible to sell even if there are other stores. So we were looking around and see what we can do different from the others. Probably the people that, and we love people that they don't come in Venice just once, but they come, I don't say early, but almost okay.
Yeah. Or
And
at
I
least
say,
it's on their second time, but maybe they already done
yeah,
a tour
yeah,
with
yeah.
us and they're coming
Because
back.
they love art, they love culture, they love to to explore the city, not only I would say going to Saint Mark and that's all.
Yeah.
So we say what we can offer to that people that already joined the tours with the cicchetti tours, food and wine tour. They already do the island, they already do this, they already do that. So we can offer what you can offer different, and so that that is what we think is really a nice experience for people.
And it's different because not everybody's into wine.
No.
A lot of people in the world are into cocktails, and I think it's a nice way to present also for me a high-end, high-quality tour because of course we're not talking about your cheap spritz that you can buy for €2.50 walking around. We're talking about proper high-quality cocktails. Susan,
Yes.
back to you.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to clarify, of course, me and Romena have been doing tours here, but you've been doing cocktail tours for a while already in another big city in the world.
Yes, I have in London. So I do London cocktail tours. And
You've been doing it for about what, 2-3 years now?
well, I started them in before the COVID, so
Okay.
2019, and then we had to stop,
Of course.
obviously.
Even
And
though I think people would have needed a
I know
cocktail
exactly.
tour.
Tell me about it.
You should have done them online.
Well, actually, not the tours, but I did do some cocktail making classes and things like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's
Just
see.
for if people ask me to, then I would do it because I'm certainly no bartender. But
Okay, because
I do know.
let's explain something. You run probably the most famous and the biggest cocktail podcast in the world.
Well, I don't. There are a bunch now, but
Yeah.
mine is one of the oldest. Yes, it's called Lush Life. Sorry, my podcast is called Lush Life, and I've been writing. I've been a journalist for a while, and I've been writing about cocktails at alushlifemanual.com, which is my blog for a long time.
Yeah.
The podcast is 9 years old.
Oh wow.
Year.
Okay, come on. You are the biggest. You're the biggest. You're on the 9th season. I don't even want to know how many episodes you actually.
No, well, actually, I did tons for the first 3 years, and then I slowed it down a little. So I have about 250 episodes.
Oh, okay. I thought you had more than that. Okay.
No. That's
okay.
Because I've been doing lots of other things like London cocktail tours.
Yeah,
and then they restarted really last year because although I had the site, which is londoncocktailtours.com, no one, and it said, if you want a tour, contact me. No one really did until last summer. And it was crazy. So many people did. And I feel like even in the world of travel, someone lit a match under people in the year 2023. And all of a sudden everyone is traveling. So that's great. It's great for us.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I totally agree. And you're actually writing a book.
I am. Yes, I'm almost finished writing a book about Venice, the history of drinking in Venice.
That hopefully by the time we do the tours and stuff, hopefully this will be available for you guys.
Yes, keep a lookout for it.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely important also because it talks about us as well.
Of course it does. Of course.
Back to Romena. Romena, what's your favorite cocktail?
Monica, I love everything with gin.
I see, but we are the perfect couple when we go out, me and Romena, because obviously when we get invited to events and stuff, and you have the bartenders, they want us to try drink, and obviously they want you to try usually a couple of drinks, and it's always perfect for them because she goes for the sour and bitter. I go for the sweet. So yeah, gin, but any particular gin you like?
It really depends by the time of the year, if it is more winter time or I would say summertime. So I go differently in the different time of the year. It really depends. Last year I joined some master classes about gin, so I know a little bit. So I'm really happy to. It's a really interesting story, but the really interesting story is about all cocktails, because we go on the bar, we order, we sit down, we chat, but over that, there are many, many interesting stories to know, and it is what we are trying to explain during this tour. Obviously, we don't will overwhelm the people with stories and that. Just at the beginning, just for give you a little information, and then we can start drink and talk about everything, that is connected with that.
Susan, which one is your favorite cocktail?
I knew that was coming to me next. Well, I don't have a favorite.
Now she's going to say, I don't drink.
No, that's definitely not true. If you could see behind me, the bar that I have, you would know that I drink.
Okay.
Well, someone once said this to me, and I take it as my own. Bourbon is my husband and tequila is my lover.
Oh, nice.
I like that. I'm gonna have to change it to whiskey and grappa, but that's okay.
So, who doesn't? I love a margarita. I love an old fashioned, but I do drink my way around a martini. It all depends where I am. I was just, as you said, on holiday. I drank a lot of mojitos and that has rum in it. So it all depends on the place and the mood. And of course, I love my Bellinis. I love my Spritzes and I love my Scropinos and coffee drinks as well. So it's the time and a place, I think.
Okay.
It's really hard to choose just one.
Yeah. I've got to say, my favorite, I got to say, is a Mai Tai and the Long Island iced tea.
Oh,
yes.
You like a lot of ingredients in yours.
I like it, yes. And I like it very heavy. But I got to say, probably one of the best cocktails I ever drank in my life, and Romena was with me, was in Venice during the first cocktail week. So we're talking about now 3 years ago.
2021.
Yeah. And it was at Terrazza Aperol. I don't know if Romena remembers. Do you remember the drink I was made? The way prepared it was made?
By Nico De Soto.
I cannot remember it was. No, I was Sophia that prepared it. Oh, okay, I never remember. I don't remember who prepared it, but I remember because he had at the top he had a meringue. It was a hot drink.
Yeah.
And do you remember what was it made with, figs or something? Do you remember?
Some beer.
Pear,
pear.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Sorry.
It was some pear juice of some sort, and then some other liquor, whatever. And I think I was and ginger. I think something to do with ginger because it was a bit spicy. I think that was the strangest cocktail I ever drank, and probably one of my favorite. And unfortunately, I never drank it again because they never did it again.
Yeah. That's a pity. That's a pity because on that cocktail week, they were requested to do some warm cocktail.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to see every time I talk about that with people, they say, oh, really? Warm cocktails? What's that?
That was good. It was so good, wasn't it, Romena?
No,
I think we should speak to the bars and tell them that they should in winter have at least one option of a hot cocktail, because I actually particularly enjoyed it when we were going around and there were a combination made with hot chocolate, a combination made with coffee, made with other hot, and it wasn't your usual, what do you call it, Susan, your winter kind of.
Yeah, you're like hot toddy. It sounds delicious.
Yeah, and it was really good because they had to reinvent it. Did you come on the first cocktail week?
Yes, I was there. I remember, although I didn't remember trying a hot cocktail. I remember Nico De Soto, who is a famous French bartender. He was making truffle martinis. That year, but I didn't try anything hot, and I love a hot cocktail, especially hot buttered rum. That's my favorite.
Ooh. See, when we were going on with Romena, of course, we were trying. The idea was we're supposed to have tried. She was trying one, I was trying the other one, but then when they saw us coming, there was nobody around anyway. We always end up having 4 cocktails. So I honest to God, that I cannot remember how many on that first year, how many cocktails we drank in a week. But all I can say, I think we scored about, was it 19 or 20 bars we managed to do, Romena?
I think around 20,
yeah, something like that. So it was a lot. Let's say our liver wasn't very impressed with us
because it was an interesting period. Just 2021, it was December, so not so much work for us since we were still suffering a little bit about COVID on the country, and so we were more free than now.
Yeah. Romena, I want to speak about very quickly, not giving nothing away, about Spritz. So we're not going to say what we're going to do when we go to the Spritz place. We're not going to tell the story about Spritz. I just want to go and talk about Limoncello spritz.
She
knows what I'm talking about.
This is my summer nightmare.
Go.
Because
you go, girl. You go.
No, it's not so because so this summer I realized that people were asking for limoncello spritz, and actually bars are offering limoncello spritz, and I say, what is that?
That's what's worse. It's not so much as people asking. It's
exactly
giving it.
No, because I was thinking, okay, probably they are coming from south of it. I mean, they were traveling and then they went to Naples. Okay, they went to Costa Amalfitana. They tried the spritz with limoncello and they like it, even if we cannot call it spritz, but let's see. But if not only the people were asking, but the bar, they were following. So they were offering that. And really, I didn't, I never tasted this kind of spritz. I want to taste when I go to Naples. I'm going to on November, because they told me there are some bars where they do very well. But it's really incredible from my side. What I don't understand is that the aperitivo, in my opinion, has to be a little bit bitter, and that spritz with limoncello my idea is something sweet for them bitter.
Well, it's like a Yugo that is very sweet.
So and I don't drink Yugo.
Yeah, it's like it's like a Cinico. A Cinico, that is my favorite. Oh, by the way, this is my favorite cocktail. Sorry, I forgot about my Cinico. The Cinico is sweet, but at the same time, it's not overly sweet. But I would never have it as an aperitif. It is something I will have if I have a whole plate of cicchetti. Maybe I will have maybe in the afternoon, but definitely not as a quick aperitif. Definitely is my end of a meal or during my cicchetti.
So please don't come to Venice and ask for
at least don't ask me and Romena for it.
Esatto. Don't ask.
Banned with a big cross.
But I think that in every city you have to try what is typical in the city. No, otherwise, why you travel?
Exactly. Susan, you have got a strong connection with Venice. When did your love for Venice start?
Well, it was my dad's favorite city in the world. So I started coming when I was young, around 11, I think was my first time. And from that moment, the first time I saw Venice was in the fog. So we took a taxi from the airport, and remember my mother saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, it's foggy, so you don't see St. Mark's Square." But as we got closer, the fog kind of lifted, or it let us in, and I saw it, and it was so magical. I remember it was March, and I thought, "Oh, I will never forget this," and I haven't. And from right then, that kind of enchanted quality of it just grabbed my heart, and that was it. And we came back every few years. I was involved with a few Venetian charities. So we always came and was part of these charities that raised money to restore paintings, churches,
like
buildings
say
Venice.
Venice Heritage,
Venice, Venetian Heritage. And, I got to meet a lot of Venetians. So it's been a love affair my whole life. And and as I get older, it just gets deeper,
Maybe you are Venetian. You were Venetian in a previous life or something.
Maybe. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
You never get lost in Venice, so that might be it.
Well, I always tell people, you will never get lost. Like, try and get lost, because you'll always see signs that say Per San Marco or Per Rialto, and or the train station, and you go, okay, well, that's not the way I'm supposed to go, so I'm gonna head back. So they make it easy in Venice.
Yeah, that's true. As people say they get lost all the time, I think it's because they're just not very careful. They don't look for details and surroundings, and they just walk around with their phones in their hands, and that's it. This is a weird question I'm gonna ask you, but I never asked you before because it never came to me. But what is your first memory of Venice? Because obviously you don't live in Venice like me. You're from slightly outside. What's your first memory?
I think that it was when I had a friend on the past time that she was going at school in Venice, even if she was living on the mainland, very close to me. But since the mom was working in Venice, she was going at school in Venice. And the school was joining the famous Sueso per i Ponti, that is this sort
Oh, yeah,
of
like a little
cherry.
marathon. Yeah, charity
Yes,
family marathon. Yeah.
it's only 12 kilometers, or you can do also less than that. It was created for school, actually, not
Yeah.
for, so the family, they can enjoy and
Yeah.
spend the morning together. And I remember that I was forced to go to this marathon, little
Sorry,
marathon.
how old were you?
Around six, probably
Oh,
around
okay.
that,
Boy.
6, 7, yeah. Forced to go, and I didn't like, because you have to wake up very early in the morning. I'm a very sleepy people, but my favorite part was the part where they give you some orange juice and some merendina, some little
Okay,
snack.
okay. But your first memory, what do you actually remember of that day? Just walking around, or do you actually?
Oh no, the starting, because it was in St. Mark's Square. Actually, the starting
Ah,
was all together in St. Mark's Square. Then you you walk, not run for that
yeah.
12 kilometers. So they have different spot where they offer you orange juice, some snacks. So that was my best part.
Okay. Fine, that's cool. Somebody wrote about my first impression. There's a book that goes around, is around of the internet, that is dedicated to Venice. I think it was on not Venice Rising, the other one. What was it called? I cannot remember. It's
The Stones of Venice?
No, it was a charity book. What's it called? Spritz something like, it's on the tip of my tongue. I will write it on the thing, when on the keynotes, on the show keynotes. And I remember they asked me exactly this, and I remember my first memory. I think I was about, must have been 4 or 5 or something like this, on my dad Vespa. My mom was sitting at the back. In those days, they didn't need a helmet, so she had a beautiful foulard, a scarf across her head. She was sitting sideways because, of course, she had a skirt, so she couldn't sit, riding. So she was sitting on the side, and I was sitting at the front with my dad. My dad didn't have a windscreen, so all the mosquitoes it was a summer. I remember, but definitely must have been July, August. I remember all the mosquitoes going into my face. And I remember as we were driving along the long bridge, on one side there was Marghera, so the industrial area and the water and so on. And the other side, there was a bridge with the train. And on the train, you can see all the people. Now we're talking about the 70s. So no air conditioning on the trains. You can imagine July, August, people like trying to launch themselves out of, of the windows. And all of a sudden, as we, driving along, I see this, the shades and, the panorama of Venice coming along, and I literally was blown away. That is my first impression. It's really funny because it happened years later that I've been, I was in England for many years, and I was on the bus the first time I came back, going back to Venice, and it was exactly the same kind of feeling, So yeah, that was my first impression. So yeah, that was interesting. And Susan,
Yes.
your first Venetian drink, what was it?
Oh, well, I have to think that, see, our first meal in Venice always was at Harry's Bar.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Yes, my dad loved Harry's Bar. I know, super lucky. And so there are two drinks I remember that I connect with Venice. And one is Harry's Bellini. Because even when I lived in New York, I worked in a building that was next to the New York Harry's Bar.
Okay.
So we would go for breakfast because it was linked to a hotel. So it had to be open for breakfast. And so
Right.
three of us who love Venice would always go and have sometimes breakfast Bellinis, if you can believe it, and then go to work.
Okay. Well, it's got calories, it's got sugar, it's got fruits.
So we were very happy when
a
we got to work.
healthy breakfast.
The other is, and it really has nothing to do with Venice, the drink, the cocktail itself, but it's the memory of it. And I was super lucky again. My parents love to stay at the Greedy Hotel, and they have a wonderful bar that has a terrace.
Okay.
And every night we would end with a sambuca on ice with the tre moschi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mosche,
Yeah. Tre mosche.
which
yes.
is the three, what is it? I forget. Health,
Coffee
wealth,
bean.
prosperity.
I can never remember,
yes,
but yeah.
3 coffee beans, and they're for health, I think health, wealth, prosperity, something like that. And so that cocktail sambuca on ice. For me, even though it has nothing to do with Venice.
Well, it does. It does. So, it's something.
The memory of it. Those are my two cocktails that I remember drinking. Yes, always in Venice.
Romena,
and I try and always have them as well.
Do you remember your first drink, cocktail, whatever?
I think it has to be the spritz because
really?
Yes.
Yeah, you do love your spritz.
Because I think that during the high school, I was having a high school in Mestre, not in Venice. I was not so fan of drinking. I don't know why. Probably some glass of wine, some beer with my friends. But after, when I start coming for the university in town, I am meeting new friends and so on. So I remember the really cheap spritz that we had after the lesson when we met together. At that time, I'm talking about the 19, they were really cheap. And so on the bars that they know, because we go almost every day.
You're talking about the 90s, yes?
Yes,
when
90s.
More or less when it was brought back to,
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true. And I remember that day when we went to almost on the 2-3 bars every day. I mean, we change, but always there, and they just give us the full, I would say, the full package of chips.
They gave you the old bottle of.
No. The full package of because they know that we are staying there for hours talking. So they say, let's have this. And talking about spritz, I remember that then I moved to Rome, I would say some years later. And the first time my mom came to Rome for visiting me, we are sitting down on a bar, and she asked for a spritz. And they look at her and say, "What?"
No way.
No, they didn't know about the spritz. So we tried to explain how to do, but they don't have, I don't think they add the apple, because select we don't talk about.
Listen, they probably didn't even have Prosecco back then.
Yeah, that could be. I don't remember, but I say, okay, let's have a glass of wine, whatever you have.
Because people don't realize, obviously, this is all stuff we're going to tell you during the tours, but people don't realize actually the spritz, or at least the spritz as we know it now. Okay, let's talk about the modern spritz is actually very modern. So, but you need to come to the tours to find out about this. Instead, I can tell you my first drink, I was 2. And it was, my dad used to give me his glass of wine that was empty, and there was always a little bit drops. And he used to give me a little bit of bread, and I used to soak my bread into it. So from 2. And I remember getting drunk at 5 at a wedding.
Oh, me too. Oh my God, we have that in common.
Oh my God.
I took everyone's cherries.
The cherry. No, I just went straight with a glass, because my mom and dad weren't at a wedding, because my sister was just born. So I was like a little flower girl, and they said to the to the bride's parent, make sure you look after. But of course, there was about 100 people in the wedding, and I was going from person to person asking for a little bit of wine. Because I always turned up with an empty glass, everybody assumed that that was my first drop. And of course, they're giving me little drops. But 100 people, 100 drops. It's at least 2 glasses of wine when you're 5. And I remember my dad came and picked me up, and he said, I was so sick. I threw up all over the elevator. Oh my God. And then I didn't touch wine for a long time. And then I think it was about in my teenage years, I got back into but I always preferred cocktails to wines. I mean, I'm a huge grappa lover. I love, again.
We have that in common too. I love grappa.
But you know why? Because my grandma used to make these huge jars, with lemon zest, like big chunks of lemon zest. And she used to put the grappa and then a lot of herbs and whatever, and then and raisins as well. And at the end of every meal with the family and stuff, she will just say, the adults will get the grappa, of course, but as kids, she will give us the lemon zest, saying, well, it's only a little bit of lemon zest.
I love it, your family.
My grandma. Yeah. So I never had a problem. I think I did have a problem with wine.
My grandmother loved grappa too. She didn't make it, but she loved grappa, and I think that's where I get it from as well.
I don't know. I think if I got to have a shot of tequila, a shot of vodka, a shot of grappa, give me grappa any day. Grappa's got flavor.
Me too. I like grappa too. That way.
And you need to learn to sip it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a shot like, to be honest with you, vodka for me doesn't tell me anything, doesn't taste like nothing. It's like drinking water that burns, really. I don't know if you agree. Anyway, okay, girls, anything else you would like to say about these tours? Apart from the fact
No,
that
I have a question for Susan.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And then I have one thing to say. Yes.
No. I would say, Susan, what do you think about is the difference in between having a cocktail tours in London and in Venice? What's the difference?
Nice question.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a world of difference because the cocktails, I mean, basically, it's the same kind of experience. You have someone telling you about the history of cocktails while drinking cocktails, obviously responsibly, drinking responsibly.
Sorry, I'll stop you there. In Venice is so easily done because you don't drive.
Exactly. And yes, I do have to guide because I have a lot of Americans come in the tour, so I'm always looking out at the traffic to make sure they're on the right side and looking at all that stuff. That you won't have to do in Venice. But no, the experience is quite similar, but the history and what spirits and what cocktails are created and the bartenders obviously are completely different because one is London and one is Venice. So you can go. In fact, I've had people take the London cocktail tour and go, when are you starting those Venice? Because we're going to be in Venice. And unfortunately, we weren't giving them on that day because they were like, oh, we're coming. They emailed me. So, that's really the difference is just the place, the history, the spirits, the cocktails, the bartenders you're going to meet are going to be completely different. The one thing I wanted to add is that, of course, if anyone asks for limoncello spritz on our tour, we will not mock them, but
talk for yourself.
but we will explain why they should not have it. They should wait to go somewhere where limoncello is actually made. Because Venice has a whole history of spritz, which I'm not going to tell you because you got to take the tour. And there is a reason why you drink a certain spritz in Venice. Okay, not the limoncello one.
Yep. Yeah.
Brava.
And what people actually don't realize also there is a huge history in Venice and the Veneto, the Republic of Venice, on the production and use of liquors, the digestives, the after dinner stuff. I mean, many of the liquors that you're drinking nowadays outside all over the world the idea originated from Venice. And this is something that a lot of people don't actually know. Well, Susan, since you are the official press person of the Venice Cocktail Tours,
I am?
Yeah. Oh, yes, you are. We decided, me and Romena, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, listen, I'm doing the interview, so I can't be. Right. Where can people find us? And both on the website and on the social medias?
It is so easy. It's VeniceCocktailTours.com if you want to find it, or it's Venice_cocktail_tours on Instagram. And okay, what was it? So that, and you can find us also on Get Your Guide, VA Tour, which is a TripAdvisor, as well. So we're all over.
And they can book us directly and everything.
Yes, and directly, right on VeniceCocktailTours.com.
One thing to notice, though, we want to make this clear. These are tours for over 18 people.
Correct.
Okay, we cannot take children because the difference when you do a food and wine tour where most of the time you can sit down with kids and whatever and just have maybe soft drinks, whatever. At the cocktail tours, it's for adult because they're adult places, so this is not suitable for families with children. Correct?
Yes, if you have children, I suggest you to ask, for example, to the concierge at the hotel, because they have always are always in contact with babysitting people or people that can help you for 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay, so it's better that you can just ask to the concierge, and they are, of course, able to help you on this.
Yes.
Okay.
Great suggestion, Romena.
Yeah, girls. It was so nice talking to you, and I cannot wait to start these tours to have people, and maybe in 1 year time we can have another conversation to tell people how well they're doing.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
I'm sure too.
Okay. I'll speak to you soon then, girls. Have a great time. And thank you for both being on this episode. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao,
Ciao.
salute.
Ciao,
Cin cin
arrivederci.
allora.
Cin
Ciao,
cin.
ciao. Thank you, Susan and Romena. You can find our tours at www.venicecocktailtours.com and also on my website www.monicacesarato.com and on Romena website www.rominvenice.com.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.